Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Cesu. Living Cesu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Cesu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Cesu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Cesu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and in today's episode we're joined by a very special guest, current semi-professional goaltender, and recently had a professional stint in the American Hockey League with the Chicago Wolves. Goaltender Caydon Edwards. Caydon most recently got a professional stint in the American Hockey League with the Chicago Wolves, like we just said, and has spent the rest of his career in the Great Lakes Hockey League with the West Bend Bombers, Toronto Attack, and the Monroe Blues, while also playing junior hockey before that in the Greater Metro Hockey League. Caydon also helps coach other young goaltenders and helps run a company called Goalie Parts. So this is going to be a really fun episode, Caydon. So welcome to the show, Caydon Edwards.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Oh yeah. Love that. It's been an episode in the making. I know we've been trying to schedule this for the last couple weeks, but glad to finally get this thing rolling.
Yeah, man. It's been just tough to get something tacked down, but definitely it'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But to start things off, how are you? How have you been? Especially most recently, with the Wolves. I know you were with them a month ago. How's everything with you?
Good, man. It's just been kind of a blur. It was fun. I got to spend about a week with them after all said and done, and then I've just been went back to my normal life, basically doing goalie parts and coaching with the Hawks, especially. So it's been fun, but now kind of back to reality until the next door calls.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's all you can do until that next door opens and you get to go somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping that soon, but you never know.
Yeah, exactly. But to start things off here, can you give our viewers a little background information on yourself? Like when you started playing hockey, what made you become a goaltender, your hockey journey so far?
Yeah, so I'm originally was born in Toronto, then moved out to Peterborough, up in Canada. Didn't start playing hockey till about 11. Started a little late to the game. Bunch of my friends and stuff were playing, and I would always go watch them play. And I was always chomping at the bit, like, "Hey, mom, let me play." She's like, and I'm just reels of it. We didn't have a lot of money, so I wasn't able to actually get into it earlier. And then a charity actually helped my mom get me into hockey. So I started playing, and I actually started as a player. And 10 games into the season, coach was like, "Hey, our goalie doesn't want to play goalie anymore. Who wants to try?" I was like, "Oh, I'll try. Whatever. It can't be that bad."
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. Lost 6-0. It was, I mean, novice. It was, I guess it's like squirts, what you guys call it down here. And I came off the ice. My mom was like, yes, he's not going to want to play goalie. It's going to be perfect. He just lost really bad. And I came in and I was like, when are we doing it again? I want to play net. And she was like, well, damn it. So yeah, I started then, and that's what kind of made me fall into goalie. And then I played double A, a little bit of triple A, played junior A, junior C, played multiple junior leagues, between like the GMHL, the OJ, the Empire junior. It's like junior B, junior C, Central Ontario. Um, then I went, actually, where I really kind of found my niche was actually coaching. Played semi-professional hockey actually in Norwood, Ontario. And then I went over to China and actually coached minor hockey over there, worked with the junior program and the national program over there for a little bit. And practiced with the KHL team, Caydon Red Star was one of the practice guys, kind of like an EBUG per se.
Yeah.
And moved to the States, played in the Federal League with Danville off and on. And then I went to retirement, and now I skate in the summer with Brian Keane and like the Hawks and those guys, and then the Wolves, and then the odd time I'll go up and play in that like Great Lakes Hockey League here and there. That's always a riot.
Yeah, that's a great journey, and like it's weird how like you got ripped 6-0 and then you're like, oh, I want to do that. Like I had a guy on yesterday, he won his first game 4-0, and like then just come here and get told that you got ripped 6-0. It's a funny story, and that you still want to be a goalie.
It was like, my mom was just like, yeah, like he's like, yes, like he's not gonna want to be a goalie, and like this is gonna be perfect. And I came off and I was just like stoked to play net again. And I mean, some things never change. I mean, I'm still getting scorched 6-0 on a regular, so it happens.
Oh yeah. If you play the position, those games are bound to happen, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think did it for you that kept you wanting to play goalie?
Honestly, I just love the like kind of make or break, kind of like compete mentality. Even when I was younger, like I actually played like pretty high level soccer. I played like travel soccer back up in Canada. I played like lacrosse, I played baseball, and it was everything I would kind of do was always like compete. And when I was in net, like, don't get me wrong, as a player, you got to compete, you got to do your stuff. Yeah. But I just found like there was so much more on the line if you didn't compete as a goalie compared to competing as a player. And I think that's just what kind of did it for me. And then, I mean, also we get to do cool gear and get designer helmets, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to do
that. yeah, that's what it's like for me. And just like every shot matters. Like you're touching the puck every shot. Like that's all. You're in the game for 60 minutes, you're touching the puck every single shot, unless they miss the net. But it's like you still, like, you're a big part of the game, and like if one gets behind you, that red light goes on, and it's not a very good feeling. But when you make that big save, like that's the best feeling.
Oh, it's nothing comes close to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So then you go into junior hockey in the Greater Metro after like your youth hockey days. So like, what was the Greater Metro Hockey League like, and just being able to play junior
A? So that actually like wasn't like my first like kind of stint with junior. I was actually with Peterborough and Peterborough Stars. Basically, they're called the Liftlock Stars. Peterborough Bees. And then also Lindsay Muskies. I like would skate with them. I'd practice with them. So that was kind of like my first like stint, kind of say, with junior. It was that, like, that part of it was like kind of cool, because I mean, like, there's so many guys that were playing that just wanted to do college instead of the like normal typical like, oh, I got to play in the OHL, I got to play Like I got to play in the WHL, I got to play wherever. It was a lot of these kids wanted to go to school. So it was great hockey to kind of be a part of. And then I went to the Great Old Metro League, and I mean, I went in with like a mentality of like, oh, okay, like junior, same job, just better players. And it was fun. It was pretty humbling experience, like right off the top. I was one of the only 16-year-olds to play my year as a goalie, so I got to kind of command the crease for a while and learned kind of a lot about myself pretty quickly. And it just it just the hockey world was so small. It took me so many places. And I mean, I was a bit of a suitcase. I went to team to team to team to team. Um, but it was awesome. I met so many guys, some of my best friends. Um, yeah, I mean, I got to actually play with like my childhood friend. Him and I ended up making a team together. So it was awesome. And I mean, especially going into that like Metro League, it was not your typical kind of league in the sense of like there was a lot of Europeans there. There was a lot of American kids too, plus Canadians. But again, to kind of play against Europeans and really learning kind of like how they play and how game was, it was so different. It was so quick. It was fun. Definitely helped kind of more or less find my way to where it was like how I play now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like what do you learn when you're just practicing and just skating with teams that you're not really playing games in? Like what were some of the things you learned to help you develop and go into that greater metro with a better mindset and better like development overall?
Um, Honestly, you were always kind of like learning to play with an edge per se. So like off the ice, I was friends with all the guys. Like it was just like basically like a band of brothers essentially. Like everyone was just
Yeah.
hanging out and everyone kind of had their back. Everyone would call each other out for their like for their shit.
Yeah.
If someone wasn't doing what they were doing, they call each other out. So it's just like learning how to be held to a standard, even if it was you were at practice and you were like above your head or whatever. It was, hey, this is the standard, like match it. And then like as I said, like on the ice, just working with like guys that ended up playing pro, that ended up playing like college hockey, in the goalie kind of realm. Um, it was just awesome to watch them and kind of go, okay, like that's like kind of cool how they're like holding a glove, or like, oh, like this is like how they like track a puck or how they slide into a post. I mean, back when I was that young, butterfly was there, but it was still like developing at like a rapid rate at that point.
Yeah.
And watching them, kind of learning from them, and like I would be in net and like we'd have like little games and stuff. And my like kind of, as I said, like go back to that compete level. Um, my thing was always like, hey, like I want to be better than the last guy out here. It's just to kind of prove a point, or I want to be better than the first guy out here so I could just make a name for myself essentially. And it kind of carried over into my junior. And I mean, goalies don't wear C's or A's or anything, but I mean, just kind of always being like that quiet leader. And I think just doing that minor hockey, like that beginning of junior minor hockey, just really kind of set me up for that later on.
Yeah, and like just like I like the competitive edge because like as like a goalie, like you need any type of edge to stand out, especially like you have what hundreds, thousands of other goalies that play the game. Like you just need to have those couple things that stick out, and like that'll get you like opportunities and just being able to just realize that you need to be better than the next guy and like be the hardest working guy on the ice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's kind of, I mean, what allowed me to stay at the level I did when I was that age. I mean, I was 13, 14, 15, and I was doing that mostly 14, 15. I mean, we were just out there doing our thing, and it was just compete, and it paid off. I mean, it was awesome to learn from some of those guys and also be able to kind of help begin to make a name for myself right off the hop.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you were saying earlier, like you were 16 when you got in the greater metro. So like what was it like playing games at 16 years old, and just like you're seeing guys stronger, bigger, faster, like the game's moving a lot quicker, a lot more smoother. And it's like what did you have to do to like help yourself be successful at that level and just work your way and get that experience, especially as a young guy?
Yeah. Um, honestly, it the first team I was on. So I went between two teams my first year. The first team I was on, they're like a mid-pack team. Um, I wasn't playing as much there. I was still playing, but it was awesome to be, again, just like I had to be better. I couldn't be mediocre. Um, it was a pretty close lateral movement from my like double A, triple A team. I mean, my double A team, we were my draft year, so we were 16. We no, like, we were a wagon. We were good. So it was kind of interesting to go to like that team, like junior team, and really like it wasn't a downgrade by any means, but it was pretty easy lateral movement over. But like just like kind of learning how to more or less take that like next step to being a junior guy every day of like, hey, like I gotta eat healthier, I gotta work out every day, um I gotta go to class, like I got practice, I could have practice at 5 a.m, 6 a.m, I could have practice right after school. Like game day skates first thing in the morning, skate, grab breakfast, go to class, leave school, shower, try to rip off my homework, and then get to, if it was a home game, get to the rink for a home game. um Road trips, like I mean, our closest game was an hour away. um our next closest game was 2.5. Our farthest one was a 14-hour bus trip. So I mean, like, you just kind of learn out, you got to learn those life skills, and then that's what kind of helped. Again, that like mid-pack kind of team, I got traded to a team so I'd play more. uh Worst team in the league, and it was I played it almost every night, but
That
I
that's
was
an that's an upside.
I was ready to leave the net by the end of the game. I just wanted to get my gear off. Kind of like learn that like mental kind of side, that mental toughness to, I mean, I'm probably going to get buried on at least 4 or 5 this game. At least I got to kind of battle through, and I got to try to stop the bleeding as much as I can. And it was fun. It definitely helped me with like life skills, mental toughness, um, being a part of like just kind of learning how to be an adult.
Yeah.
It's the best way to put it. And as you said, like 16, I mean, I moved 6 hours away from home. So I was living with the other goalie who was 20 years old, 6 hours away from home. Um, got up to a lot of no good, but it was fun for sure.
And like what did like obviously the game's all about like mental toughness and everything, like you said, and like you had to learn that. So like what were some of the techniques that you use throughout that time, and like even you use now when you're not on a great team, like last place in the league, you're getting peppered with shots and you're just getting buried left and right. Like what are some of the techniques you use to just calm yourself down and just like worry about like stopping the next puck?
Um, honestly, like it depends. Like it could be, it just, I want to say it depends on my mood that day, but the best way to describe it is just like I gotta have fun. Um, one thing I actually do a lot is I hum songs. So like I'll be like sitting there doing just getting pumped with shots or whatever, and I'll just start humming a song. One of my buddies on one of my teams, we actually start when he knows I'm just like having a night or whatever. He'll like skate, like we'll skate past and we'll just like start talking about like movie quotes and it's just like making it fun. Coaching's a blessing and a curse because I'll get scored on and I'm the first one to admit I'm in my head because I'll overanalyze everything. I'm like, whoa, my blocker should have been there. My hip should have been there. My back was overextended, and I'll just break it down too much. So, but again, like, love my teammates for we just start like this make me laugh, and when I start laughing, then it's just like I just kind of forget about it and keep going. But yeah, humming that also helps a lot. And it'll be the most corniest, worst songs ever, but it just makes me laugh, and it's back to reality. I get to play again.
Hey, whatever changes your mood from getting scored on to forgetting about it, like that's all you can do, and like you'll take that over dwelling on the goal you just gave up.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely
Yeah.
helps. I mean, the worst one I think I ever did. I don't know if you guys have it down here. I hummed Elliot Moose. It's like this kid's cartoon. It's awful. It's the worst cartoon you've ever seen. But the song, I just started humming it one game and I was getting pumped with shots. And we won. And I was just like, by the end of the game, I looked up and I'm like, oh, the game's over. And I was like, oh, I just hummed Elliot Moose for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Hey, but it took your mind off. Maybe not be a great song, but hey, at least time went by and you didn't give up that many goals.
Yeah, I think we gave up one that night. Yeah. I might have to go back in the song bank.
Yeah, might have to go hum some songs, and maybe that'll boost performances.
I hope.
Yeah. But then you go into, after the Greater Metro League, you go into the COJ CHL, then EBJ CHL. That's a tongue twister. And then you go back to the GMHL for the Toronto Attacks. Like, what were those couple years like in the other junior leagues before going back to the Greater Metro?
Yeah, so the junior, like, so the COJ, Lakefield Chiefs, I grew up with like a lot of those kids, playing hockey with them. A lot of us played like AA, AAA. That league is actually really good. Between those, like the Empire, which is the Empire Junior B League there, and then the COJ. Those are both like feeder leagues to the OJ, Ontario Junior Hockey League. So it's competitive. A lot of good guys, guys that just like they don't want to play junior A because they don't want the commitment. So they'll play junior C. It's a little bit less commitment, but still junior hockey. It was awesome too. It was close to home. It was 5 minutes, 10 minutes from my front door to the rink. Got to play with like all kids I grew up with, kids I played like AA, AAA with, older kids, younger kids. But junior teams are super, like junior A teams are super involved. Sorry, my dog decides she wants to play with her toy. So it was awesome to kind of be a part of that, but it was also like the dark side of it. It was guys were in and out all the time. So you would have guys that would like one day be there and the next day they're cut or they're gone.
Yeah.
It was awesome. My junior, like the Empire League, that was pretty short-lived for me, at least. Ended up getting a snip, but it was awesome. It was fun. I loved it. Played with, again, like guys I went to high school with, grew up with. That one was a little bit more cutthroat on that team. They had pretty high expectations, and
Yeah.
I had one bad game, and
sometimes that does it.
Yeah, that was the end of that. But I went back to the G because of because they actually upped the age. So I got an extra year of junior. And when I got the extra year of junior, I went back, kind of, I played when I needed to, played really well when I needed to. Coach sometimes would try to put me in situations that he didn't think I'd excel in, and I would more than excel in. Um, that year, we had a college showcase, went to that and wasn't really expecting much. Ended up getting a bunch of D3 and club offers. And then I ended up doing tours and everything out of it. As I was saying about like kind of like that mental toughness, learning how to be an adult. That year, I actually had an award named after me, created and named after me. So that was like the 21-year-old like leadership dedication award. So that was pretty cool, a pretty awesome experience to go back and really just kind of hone in on being like, what's that next step for me, kind of learning what those next steps to becoming like a professional, if that may be, or going to college or going wherever. And it was awesome. And it's also coach, quote unquote, like coach, but kind of be a leader for like the younger kids on the team. That was an awesome experience too.
Yeah, and just being a leader, like how important is it to be like a leader? Like obviously like you don't have the C or the A, but like just that like lead by example type of guy, and just being able to just have like everyone know that you're working so hard every single time you're on the ice, just leading by example.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, there's like, it was just like the simple things, because like a lot of these kids were coming out of like AA, AAA hockey. I mean, some kids, some of their programs, I mean, I was fortunate enough, like, because I played Peterborough, like our coaches would kind of teach us. Like I had like old pro guys as coaches. I had guys that played like junior and stuff. So like meal regimens, like learning how to like take care of your body, things like that. Some of these kids that were coming in to junior their first year, their programs either didn't have that, or they were never taught it, or they never kind of followed through with it. So like teaching them how to like eat properly, like meal preps, how to like drink, like what to like drink before games, just like little things like that, and just really kind of showing them like, hey, like this is what it's going to take for you to be successful. And I actually had a kid bill it with me, like well with my family and I. He was from like New York too. I mean, to become friends with him and stuff, and you really have him kind of, I want to say like that, but he was kind of just a part of everything I did, and it just helped him be better too. So it was fun.
Yeah, and it just proves that you don't need the C or the A to make an impact when you're trying to be a leader. Like all you gotta do is just put in the work, like make sure you're working hard, and like everyone else will follow.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, I always tell my goalies that I teach, it's like, as you just said, you don't need a letter on your shirt just to be that leader. Like take the extra time, put the extra work in, show that like you want to win and you're willing to do whatever, and your teammates hopefully should follow.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, you never know, but hopefully that's the plan that they should.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then after your junior hockey days, you play in senior hockey for the Norwood Vipers for 2 years. Like what was it like going through like the process of just trying to figure everything out, like you said, and then just finding yourself in Norwood?
Yeah. So I mean, I actually went to I was actually drafted to the Fed back in the day. I want to say it was Dayton Demons. I want to say they were. They drafted me, and then I went to camp or whatever. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. Um, didn't stay there, and then Watertown, one of the coaches there, he invited me out to like this like camp thing or whatever. I was coming off a knee injury, and I was like I'll come out. I don't really know what's about. Went out, ended up he wanted to sign me like right out of camp. And I was like, I'll cut, like, okay, whatever. And then I ended up, I was dating a girl, and I ended up going like, yeah, you know, I don't think I'm going to do that. That's far. I don't know if I really want to go make only like a couple $100 a week, if a couple $100.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm just going to kind of, at that point, I was even contemplating about just like playing men's league and calling it good. Came back, and then, yeah, I was actually in the same league. There's a team called, there was a team called the Whitby Dunlops. And I went to there, and I was like, you know, I'm going to go take a look and just kind of see. I used to go to like Norwood Viper games and go watch them. I knew guys on the team, some of my old coaches and stuff like that. And I went to the Dunlops, and I was out there. Guys were like, they played college, they played pro. There's a couple guys who played like NHL and stuff. And I was like, dude, like, this is no like men's league. This is hockey, because it's classified as senior AAA. So the equivalent essentially to it is like the OHL, but after you age out like the OHL or like junior hockey, this is like the next kind of thing if you want to keep playing something serious. I didn't make Whitby. I actually went to Norwood my first season. I played I didn't start the first game. I ended up going in for that one, but then I played like the next like 4 or 5, and I went like 3-1 or 3-2. And it was awesome just to be a part of it, because there's no real way to like, a lot of these guys are just like, they work full time. We practice twice a week. And we have games on the weekend, but you got to play kind of in front of like where I grew up. And I remember like watching these games as a kid. Got like my first win. Boys were like super pumped about it. I was pumped. And then we went on a massive slump. We weren't winning games. We couldn't figure it out. But like when I was kind of transitioning to this, it was a learning experience for sure, because these guys played hockey. So you're like, okay, like I can't be oversliding. Like I can't be kind of just, oh, I'm just gonna get my body in front of it and just call it good. Like I got like track rebounds, like, and it was an experience. It was awesome to learn. I got to play like a couple years of that. Jen and Bob McCleary. Bob was the owner. Jen was his daughter, and his wife. They were awesome. They took care of me at least really well. We had fans every game, and then the second season, they did even more for us. We got like new jerseys and everything, and then actually Ayers, good buddy, Dave Ayers. He's a good buddy of mine. He was playing with me there, and him and I were just like, if we got anything less than like 50 shots a night, that was like a easy night. So him and I would just like, we just made games of it, because there was no way we were winning a lot of the games. So we were just try to play and just have fun with it. I mean, kind of, I don't want to say coach each other, but like, I mean, at practice, we were spending the extra time of like just going through drills and just trying to maybe like go through, maybe I could have done that better to see if it'd help us like win. But no, we just weren't that good.
Yeah, it's hard to win when you're facing 50 plus shots a night, and like that's an easy night for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean, it's also too, like, I mean, I played against like I mean, one of the teams had like Matt Barnaby, like Mike Mole, like I'm trying to think of like some, like a bunch of kids that played like down like D1, D like 3 hockey. There was like European pro guys. And I mean, it was fun, but like by the end of the game, it was just like okay, like I'm done. Get me out of here.
Yeah, just pack your gear up and leave. Just
Well,
nothing else.
I mean, like after the game, I mean, you walk in and this is how I like knew it was like kind of like senior, like it was like senior hockey or whatever was, we would like after junior, like you're sitting there like drinking like Gatorade and like water and like you would get like some kind of like healthy food or whatnot after a game. And then after a game with these guys, it's like they'd have like a ball of booze to like 2 cases of beer and like 20 pizzas. And it was like, yeah, I peaked.
Just men's league in a nutshell. Just after games, just throw back some beers and just enjoy your time with the boys.
Yeah, but I, yeah, but people are paying to watch you instead.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But you then get a stint with the Danville Dashers in the Fed a little bit. So like, what was that about? Like, just going to Danville and just being able to be there.
Yeah, so that coach from Watertown that asked that had like asked me to come there and I mean I didn't go. He was like he started coaching Danville. And at that point, I had just gotten back from China from coaching, and I had just been like practicing and playing with Kunlun Red Star. And I had like came back and he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, like, what are your plans for this season? Like, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm living out in Washington right now. Like I was Spokane, Washington. I was training with the trainers out there. I was skating with like uh my buddy like Jeff Smith, Kyler Yamamoto, Tyler Johnson, the Ryans, um, a bunch of kids that were playing D1 hockey. So like I was like training and I was like, I mean, training, I'm kind of skating as a practice guy right now. I don't really know. He was like, well, come to Danville. I could use a goalie. And at that point, my ex-wife at the time, well, my wife at the time, now ex-wife, she was coming to Chicago to work. And I was like, well, this kind of works out. I mean, I was waiting for my green card at that point. So I was like, I mean, I could play hockey. I could, while I'm waiting for my green card and I'm close to home essentially.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, you know what? Sure. I'll come down. Off the top, they ended up getting a couple guys in and I didn't end up playing there. And midway through the season, I got a phone call and I was like, hey, can you come down? It was supposed to be for one game, ended up being for multiple games. And then I was like, I'd go home. Then it was for practices and then more games. And by the end of the year, I think I was there for probably about 10 to 15 games. And it was awesome. I mean, it was a different kind of hockey for sure. But to see like just like Danville, they get about 1,000 people a night and it's a small town. Everyone knows you. I mean, even I was practice like come third goalie kind of there whenever they kind of needed me. And I mean, everyone knew who I was. It was an awesome experience. And Danville was, I mean, some of the boys they were a treat. I'm still friends with them and they're great group of guys. And I mean, we had our fun and it was an experience.
Yeah, and I'm sure you learned some things down there as well. And like what were some of those things that you learned, especially like you're playing at like the pro level in the Fed? Like what do you learn from those practices and just being there for those 10 to 15 games?
So it was actually like I basically took everything that I had learned in the Allen, like with Norwood, and I just transferred it over to Danville. And I mean, for the most part, like Norwood's classified as like semi-professional hockey.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same. It was the same mentality. The difference being we were just practicing 4 days a week opposed to once or twice a week. So I mean, it was a pretty lateral movement for the most part. The one thing I did kind of like take away from it was like a whole new appreciation for like road trips. I mean, back in Norwood, we would take like brand new coach buses with like sleepers and stuff in it, and like, or like nice like reclining chairs. Like food was like for the most part was pretty good. Our longest trip was maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. Um, Norwood, I mean, our shortest trip was 8 hours. Sorry, at Danville, our shortest trip was 8 hours. Um, so I took a whole new appreciation to road trips. But it was, I mean, it was awesome just to like see the fans and everything, just like how interactive they were. And kind of like living that minor pro kind of hockey lifestyle. You're working out, you're skating every day, and you're doing community stuff, and then you're on the road traveling. It was a busy schedule, but you kind of take a whole new appreciation to like having to take care of your body. If it meant going to the gym and just like stretching out for like an hour and a half, just sitting there and stretching. Yeah. It was, I didn't play that night. I would like typically go to the gym and get a lift in just so I felt like I kind of accomplished something. If you were like injured or you felt something kind of like tight, it was just like rehabbing it, making sure like you were like good to go. Because especially at the minor pro level, you're not playing good or you're just not pulling it up to snuff. I mean, you're sent home. So learning kind of how to just really manage that and kind of control the variables the best I could until I was no longer needed.
Yeah, and like just taking your like recovering your body is like huge, especially when your shortest trip is 8 hours. Like that's a long ass bus ride, and you gotta do anything you can to help yourself stay loose and everything, especially because everything will tighten up on those 8 hour bus trips.
Oh, I mean, I think actually it was my second stint in Danville. It's funny. It's actually a funny story. So they called me, Dustin Henning. He was assistant coach, and he was coaching and playing. And because our coach had just like gotten fired or something, he calls me. I was up in Toronto, and he goes, "Hey, like, what are you doing?" I'm like, I mean, I'm chilling at home. Why? And he's like, "Cool. I need a goalie. Can you come down and play?" And I'm like, "Dude, like, I don't know. Like, I haven't played in a while." He's like, "I just need a goalie. Come down and come play." I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll come play. Packed my stuff up in my truck, drove down. That was an 8 hour drive, 8.5 hour drive from Toronto. Get there. I practice. I got there on the Wednesday night. Practice Friday morning. Our bus broke. It practiced Thursday morning. Our bus broke. We had to go rent vans, and then we piled into 3 vans with all our gear and stuff. And we had to drive to Carolina, and I drove 12 hours through the night to Carolina. And that was my first like 24 hours in Danville, between getting there, skating, going home, like chilling, and then driving like 12 hours straight to Carolina. And then we got there at like 8 a.m., had McDonald's, and then we had a morning skate. And I just remember getting on that ice, and I was like, dude, I am awful right now. Couldn't move. So like, yeah, the appreciation, like I think I sat in the dressing room for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just like trying to stretch out my hips and my groin, that just so I could potentially butterfly without blowing out my hips.
Mm-hmm. What a welcome to Danville after for your second stint there. Like that's crazy, but that's expected in minor pros. Just all the bus trips and like buses breaking down and everything. Like I've heard countless number of stories about those things that happen. But yeah,
it was, yeah. I mean, and then we played 2 games. Carolina got a snowstorm, like North Carolina got like a snowstorm, and we had to drive back that night through a snowstorm. And I think I drove the first like 9 hours or whatever. And then my eyes were like just burning. I was like, okay, like someone else has got to tag in here because I can't do it.
You're gonna fall asleep behind the wheel if you keep going any farther.
So the other goalie, he jumped in, started driving, and I like curled up in the back seat and just died.
took like a long nap for sure.
Oh yeah, long is an understatement.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you go back to you play a few games in the Great Lakes Hockey League in 2020, 2021, and a game this year too. So like, what was it like going back to the Great Lakes Hockey League and just playing for the West Bend Bombers?
Yeah, so I mean, so actually, like, funny story. So last year, those 2 games that are on there, I actually didn't play those games. um, One of the other kids, like whatever, played, and he like wore my jersey for both games. And I was, because I coached at the Hawks, so like I wasn't even there. But like Monroe was a fun time when I went to Monroe. We just same thing. They weren't doing too hot. I played with them a couple games. I think I had to play like 4 games. I think we went 3-1. The one game I lost, we were actually in Fondy, and I had 86 shots. We lost 4-2. And I was like, after that I was like, okay, I think I'm done with this league. Like I'm good. And then last season, actually 2 seasons ago, I played player. So I actually played player for West Bend. And I broke my wrist.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't play player anymore. And then there's a couple guys actually from Chicago that we all drive up together. We go play a game. Some of the rinks you play in, they like pack house. West Bend actually is like, it gets rowdy. They've got like the air horns going off. They call it like chaos corner. Like there's like sticks on the glass. People like not like speaker, like megaphones or whatever they're called, going off. Like it's awesome. I have like no complaints about it. But it's sometimes just fun to go play and go get some shots and just kind of go through it and go, cool. Like this is just, it's like it's men's league, but you got people coming to watch. And I mean, it's all these like little small towns that just, they have nothing else to do. So they they pack a place out, and you have a time. And the games you got guys, like some guys that played, highest level I played is like high school. But then you've also got the other end of the spectrum where you've got guys that played pro that are playing, and they're like Division 3 or Division 1 hockey, and it gets going. I mean, Mosinee, West Bend, Mosinee, Fondy, Eagle River, like those places, they pack out their places, and you have like, it gets loud, it gets fun, the games get heated. Some like really awesome goals get scored, some big saves, and it's just fun.
Yeah, and what better way to go watch some hockey on the weekend? Just pay to see all these amazing goals, amazing saves, like whatever it is, and just it's hockey at the end of the day.
Drink dollar beers.
Oh yeah, that's what makes everyone get rowdy, is the beers for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, but do you have any good like Great Lakes hockey like stories?
Oh man, I mean,
Because I'm sure there's a ton of stories over there.
Oh, I mean, there's some, like, I think probably I think the best one was, I mean, there's a couple, like the one in Monroe. We always would like joke around and they always used to do this thing called Bombers Live, like West Bend Bombers. These 3 guys, Doc Copa Walker and John Beaudre, he would they would do this like show, and they would always like talk about it. And the one joke always would be like, oh, like how many players in Monroe did they have a Prius and a trailer for their gear? Because like we would have like it wouldn't be unheard of for us to show up with like 8 to 10 guys to a game and like one goalie, and just get like they just get pumped. Or then you'd be playing like teams like before I was on West Bend, like they would have like 3 goalies, 20 guys, and we'd be like warming up like 10 guys, maybe 8 guys. 2 guys on our team wouldn't even come out for warm-ups. Like the one warm-up, we'd have like 5 guys out there, and we just like play rebound. We wouldn't even do like skating or anything, just stand there. Like the guy would be like throwing pucks to us, guy passing in the middle, play a game of rebound. Okay, we win. We'll skate off the ice. I was actually Mosinee. I was playing player last season, and I forget what happened. I think I like scored, and then periods kind of happening, going on, and I go to the corner, and some guy absolutely crushes me from behind. And as I'm like laying there, this guy leans over the glass and goes, "Oh, how's it feel, pussy?" and dumps half a beer on me. I'm like, okay, why am I doing this? That was the last game I think I played player that season. I've had, I think like the one game, actually it was after the Wolves this year. Where did I play? I think it was a road game, and we played in Eagle River, and one of the guys was like I just first period, 26 saves, 26 shots. Awesome. Great. I'm like, I'm in one today. We're on it. Next period, 6 goals on 10 shots. And I'm just like sitting there like, oh, this sucks. Like can't pull it together. And third period rolls around, and this guy is like just bickering at me. And he goes, "Oh, you got all the Blackhawks gear. Look at you. Too bad you can't make a save. You suck." Blah, blah, blah. I'm sitting there like going like, okay, man, like, thanks. I know. Trying to mix in a save here. So then I go across, make like a massive stop. And he's like, that's called lucky. I'm like, whatever, make another save. And then this like bigger lady, I won't say we'll call her a bigger lady. She yells at me. She goes, "What's it like being a fat blob? You suck." And I think I kind of piped up and said, "When was the last time you saw your toes?" She went nuts. And I was like, okay. Then next, like as the period's going on and I'm making like a stop or whatever, and that guy's like chirping me, he like stands up and he goes to walk down the stairs, and he falls down the stairs. So I skate over and I tap on the glass and I start laughing, and he just went nuts. He left the building just like kind of like dog with his tail between his legs, just like walked out. And I was like, dude, this is awful. Like I can't do this. We have one guy that like the funniest human. He actually used to play at Fox Valley. He won't he'll drink beers just on the bench, just showers before. He won't take warm up. If he takes warm up, he'll like come out with like none of his uppers on, just a jersey, and he's still wet from his shower. Skates around, and then he'll go in the dressing room, and after a period, if he scores, he'll take a beer, and he goes, "Oh, I love beer," and just like douses himself in it. And we'll just go out and go play. That's Tom Green. Look him up. Great guy. Yeah, I mean, like, and then you've got like some guys like Jason McAloon. I mean, he's a doctor here in the city, and him and I will like carpool up. He played pro. I mean, last week he got like high sticked in the face, and he'll like caught him like just above his eye. And then what does he do? goes down, takes the puck, rips and scores, celebrates the fans, and then he's in like the dressing room, like the doctor, he's like grabbing all the medical stuff, and it's kind of like Goon, where the guy's like the trainer's coming over, he's like, no, I got it, and like takes the trainer's kit and like does it himself. That's J-Mac to a T. And like I'm like, so are you gonna tell your boss at work? He's like, oh, I just hope the patients don't ask.
It seems like the jungle down there.
I mean, it's like it kind of is, but like, I mean, West Bend is like, it's awesome. Because I mean, you've got some of the like the best fans in the sense of like everyone knows you. Everyone wants to like, they like ask like questions and stuff, especially like after the Wolves and stuff. Like the boys, when I like showed up after like my first time back after a game, they're like, oh, sorry, well, look at this drop, AHL to the G. I think it's time to retire, Caydon. Like, and like the fans and stuff, they're like, everyone knew, like, I hadn't told anybody I did it, and somehow like every person at the game knew. Like fans are like asking me about it. Like the high school kids that come to watch, like they were asking me about it, and it was like, it's fun. Go to the bar after, have a couple drinks, mixing a couple shots, and next thing you know, you're staying the night up in West Bend. But it's like, it's been awesome. I love it. I mean, it's fun to go up there and play a couple games, have some fun, and the tournament's the best part at the end of the year. Everyone's there, every game's packed, everyone's watching. Like everyone's drinking. If you can, I highly recommend go up to Fox Cities. It's like, I want to say it's the first weekend of April, and just go to the tournament. You'll have a blast, and you like, the guys are just, it's awesome.
Yeah, that seems unreal, and just like a great time for everyone, no matter if you're a fan or a player, just watching, just playing. Like it's a fun time no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome just to go up and like just have a time. I mean, it's decent hockey too. It's not like the best hockey by any means, but it's definitely like fun. Like you get, as I said, like you get those like couple lines where guys are like, they play like D3, D1, some guys play pro, but then you also got the other end of it where you just got guys that are like gooning it up, just want to fight. And I mean, you watch yourself a couple Tillies a night, and it's a good time.
Oh yeah, that's a good time for sure. But I want to go on to the Wolves a little bit here. So January 7th, you were given the opportunity to get the call up from the Great Lakes Hockey League to the Chicago Wolves in the American League. So like, how crazy was that day for you, and being able to head to Rockford for that game and potentially see game action? Like how did everything happen to start things off?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna walk and talk here. I gotta grab my charger. Thought my computer was gonna hold up. Yeah, no, I mean, it was awesome. So like, kind of long story short, I was kind of backstory. Last summer, I was skating with, as I said, like I was skating with Keener and like the Hawks all summer, and it was like, I loved it. I'd go out, I skate with like Fleury, skate with all the guys. Yeah, so I had skated with the Hawks all summer and stuff, and honestly, I just kind of took it as like, I get to skate, get to hang out. I'm on the EBUG list for the Hawks too, so it's awesome. And then during Christmas, I was actually out in California, and I got a phone call from like Brian Keane. He's like, hey, I gave your number to Mark Bernard of like the of like Rockford, our assistant GM here. He's going to be calling you. I'm like, okay, sure. I didn't really put anything like together.
Yeah.
And then he called me, goes, hey, this is Bernie. I'm like, hey Bernie. He's like, what do you got? What you got going on? What you got going on tomorrow? I'm like, or sorry, on Monday. I'm like, nothing. He's like, hey, like, we need a goalie, we need practice. We got practice and stuff. Cal Morris just got called up. Delia just is still up there. Like Soderbaum, he got called up. So right now I've just got Tommy Auburn here. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can make it. And I didn't think anything of it. And that was right before that massive snowstorm we got. So I had to, we called, changed my flight, like changed our flights. So I got back the like day before. So like the Saturday morning, so New Year's Day. And I was the last flight into Chicago at the morning, and then they cancel everything for the day.
Wow.
So I go up, go practice, did like all my COVID testing and all that. And then yeah, it was like cool. Like Bernie messaged me, he's like, hey, like did great today. But Delia during practice, he got sent back down. So I've got Deals and Auburn here. I don't need you, but I'll keep your number. If I need you, I'll let you know. Like, yeah, sure. Like, thanks so much for the opportunity. And like, yeah, I'll see you soon. That was the Sunday. And then during the week was like at work at Goalie Parts doing my thing. And Friday morning rolls around. I have a doctor's appointment in the morning and my heater breaks. And then I have to like drive my like girlfriend to the airport. And I'm like, get the heater fixed and everything, go to my doctor's appointment. I'm driving her to the airport. And as I'm driving her to the airport to go to work, I get a phone call from Wendell. And he's like, hey, it's Wendell. Or I got your number from Mark over at the IceHogs. Long story short, I need a goalie tonight. Are you available? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I mean, what's going on kind of thing. Lions had just got called up. Beck, Warm, broke his finger in morning skate. One guy went down on COVID protocol. And then E2, like his back was shot. And he goes, I have no goalies and we have a game tonight. Bernie said, like, you could play in a game. You've got the level for it. So I was like, oh, I'm like, okay. Yeah, he goes, cool. Just like, cause of like AHL East Coast, like laws and stuff. Because I've got a couple calls to coast teams. I don't know if I'm going to have anybody. Can you be available? And I'm like, yeah, he goes, cool. I'll give you a call back in 20 minutes if I need you. Awesome. Call my boss. I'm like, hey, Wolves just called me. I probably gonna need the day off. And I'm like, he goes, cool. He was no problem. I'm like, I'll come to work for a couple hours. He's like, go home, grab your bag and stuff. Cause my skates were in Darien at my coaching locker. So he's like, go grab your stuff, get your suit on, come here. You can work for a couple hours and then head out. I'm like, awesome. Get a call back. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to need you. We've got one kid coming in from Lackey. We got him coming in from Indy. And then we've got like you tonight. He's like, he'd be in Rockford by 5:30. And I'm like, okay, cool. As I hung up the phone with him, I get a phone call from Indy. And Indy's like, hey, we need a goalie for tonight. We got your number from Bernie. Like, heard like high things. Can you make it? I'm like, I actually just signed with the Wolves for the for the weekend. And he's like, okay, thank you. And just like got off the phone. I'm like, oh, okay. So went home, got my stuff, went to work, went to Rockford. They're like, hey, he says he's gonna be here in time, but just be ready just in case. And I'm like, yeah, sure, like no problem. Sign my contract, do my COVID testing, do a quick physical. Cause I had done a physical with Rockford. They basically just transferred it over.
Yeah.
And then I was like sitting there and we do like warm, goalie shows up, Lackey shows up, we get dressed, we go out, we warm up. And then in Rockford, you have to sit in the tunnel. So I'm like sitting in the tunnel, just gnawing on gum. Some guy, like I'm in GGSU on Facebook, and some guy's like, I forget, like he's like, oh, like GGSU, like you're awesome. I'm like, yeah, man, cool. And then some other guy, like he goes, you suck if you're backing up. And I'm like, so look, I'm like, what? Like, yeah, cool. I'm backing up in an AHL game and you tell me I suck? Yeah, cool, great, awesome. So then first save of the game, Lackey makes it's like a 2-on-0,
Yeah.
unbelievable stop. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I can be comfortable for the night kind of thing. It's 2-0 and whatever, no big deal. I'm sitting there just gnawing on gum and like drinking like BioSteel, just kind of chilling. Second period, goal, goal, goal. And I'm like, uh-oh, it's like, this might go down. And one of the guys, and it's like funny because like one of the guy, like people there, like, oh, like, what's gonna happen if you go in? I'm like, I'm gonna stop a puck. Like, I don't really know
It's
how
not
to
that hard.
like, and then we come off. Coach comes in, flips the drink tray, like the cart thing, freaking out, apologizing to Lackey because like he was just like left to dry.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there, and then all of a sudden they're like, pass me, like I'm going back up for third, Lackey's going, and they're like, pass me like BioSteel, like some like energy stuff. They're like, you might need to be ready to go here. And I'm like, okay, like just sitting there getting ready. And it's like 10 minutes, like halfway, like through the period or whatever. And they still haven't scored. And I'm like, okay, so like I'm just kind of now, like, I don't have to go in, getting comfy. As I think that, they pop 2 right away. And I'm like, oh, like this is like, okay, this is gonna go down. End up not going in. And then I thought that was gonna be the end of it. So I was like, start packing up my stuff, thank everybody. And then they're like, no, like we need you tomorrow too, and probably for the weekend. I'm like, oh, okay. At that point, they weren't sure if Manila was gonna get in time. And so then again, like flights, everything. So I skate the morning skate. They still don't know if he's gonna get in. They tell me to be there for 5 o'clock just to get ready. And then he ended up making it in time. So I ended up getting scratched. And which I was like, I kind of expected it.
Yeah.
And then Lackey, before he even starts, his ankle's hurting him. So they like tape up his ankle and stuff. As they like tape up his ankle and stuff, he goes out, he like goes over his ankle and he's like, guy has a high ankle sprain. He's done. So I then have to go get dressed. I'm sitting in the tunnel for the second. And then I go on the bench for the third. And then I was like, okay, like this is gonna be the end of my weekend. Like I'm done. And then they go, hey, be here tomorrow. Probably gonna need you. I'm like, okay, come to the game or whatever. And then Kostopoulos ended up making it, so I didn't need to be there. So it was like, it was perfect. I was like, just again healthy, sitting up the stands. They had practice and stuff. Then on the Monday, oh sorry, rehab day on the Monday. They practiced Tuesday, and as they like Wednesday morning rolls around, I've already been released. I'm like, cool, done, doing my thing. And next thing, I get a phone call, and keep in mind, like I was out boozing the night before with like a couple of my buddies. I forget what we were celebrating. And I get a call. It's Wendell. He goes, well, need you again. Kostopoulos just went down with COVID. So are you available? I'm like, yeah, sure. I ended up going out there, and then yeah, it was just like kind of a whirlwind of a week between Rockford, the Wolves, Indy. It's just been one thing after another kind of mentality, and it's been awesome. The guys, they've been great. Every time they welcome me like open arms. I knew a couple guys on the team too, so it was fun to catch up with them. And then I'm now I just kind of, they need me, they shoot me a call. If not, I'm good with my Johnny's Elite League. Keeps me entertained.
Yeah, that's crazy though, because like you probably would have expected to just be there for a day, and then it came 2 days, 3 days, and then like a week later, and you're still there, and it's just they go from having 2 healthy goalies to what, 4 unhealthy goalies with injuries and all that, COVID, and then like they have like 7 other goalies that weekend. So like that must have been crazy, and just being able to just be there and everything, like experiencing everything, like that must have been just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the final count I think on the weekend was 8 goalies by the time like they started to finish, because it was Lions, Wells, E2, Beckworm, Manila, Kostopoulos, Lackey, me. Yeah, we had 8 goalies. And I mean, it was just even funny, like at the game I was like healthy scratched. They're like going through like the 2 or 3 players, and then they were just like making random numbers up for goalies. It was like, I think my number the one game was like, it was when they're going down the thing, it was like goalie scratch 30, 30, 32, 33, 40, 41, 42, 43. I was just like, holy, we got a starting lineup of goalies and extras.
Yeah, but like what was like just being there? Like obviously like being there was just awesome and just everything. Like what were some of the things you learned because you were practicing with them and you experienced some game action from the bench?
Mhm. Um, it was like, it was kind of like, it was awesome in the sense of like as I said, like I did it like over in China where I skated with them with like Kunlun. So it was cool to see like the AHL side of it compared to like the KHL side of it.
Yeah.
The KHL side of it was like, it was fun. I just still remember like in practice, like I was the dummy goalie essentially. So one of my like drills I had to like quote unquote do was slide over for Alexei Ponikarovsky to take one timers past my shoulder neck high. It was great. I wore 2 neck guards to do those days. So it was like awesome. It was kind of cool to see like with the AHL guys, like how like they warm up, like what their kind of like process is, like how they do like their video and things like that. And how they kind of like break everything down. But like, I mean, in practice, like just, it was like game day skate. So we just like worked on just like simple things the injured guys like skated to just to see if they were good to go or not. Um, by the probably like I would say by the end of it, it was like we just had like a little fun game. And I mean, just to even see like the coaches still be able to play at a high level and still, I mean, the one coach made me look silly. Um, he it was just, it was a cool experience. And I mean, to see just how their practices go, to see how like Rockford, for instance, like how they do their practices, like how high tempo they were. It was an awesome experience, and it was fun to be a part of for the week, and kind of reminded me that there's a reason why I'm a men's league goalie.
Yeah, and so like when you were in Rockford, like did you ever like have you ever like thought about like now like what would happen if I got into that game? Like it was like it was like 8-0 the end of the final score, I believe, that game.
Yeah. Um, honestly, like the best way to put it is, it was just like, if I went in, I'm just play hockey. I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't matter if I didn't get scored on or if I got scored on 20 times. I mean, the only thing it might have done, it might have helped my elite prospects page a little bit look a little better. But I mean, it's not accurate anyway. So at this point, like, who cares? um, but it was, I mean, I thought about it, and then actually my girlfriend, she's been kind of she's been up my butt a bit. She's like, well, why don't you train? Like, why don't you go play? Even a couple like my buddies that I still like skate with and stuff, they're like, dude, like, why don't you go play? Like, you still can. And I'm like, like I'm happy. I've got like a job I like. I'm
Yeah.
still doing hockey. I'm coaching. Um, I mean, if an opportunity came up to go play, I mean, would I? Yeah, I'd probably go play. Um, it would be just have to be like kind of like the right opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I've contemplated about coming out of retirement, and then I go play one game and I feel my body after, and I go, eh, or I could just, be the guy in the stands cheering. That's way more fun too.
Yeah, and just the body, like once you like go from not playing a lot to just playing like a weekend, just practicing all that, like you're like, oh, like this is why I'm a coach there.
Yeah, I mean, knock on wood, knock on any piece of wood. I was pretty fortunate. Like my hips are good. I only had like one knee injury. So I was pretty fortunate that way. But there was still like by the end of it, it's awesome to be a part of, like, and to take care of your body like that way. Cause I mean, any like little thing that was kind of like, this is kind of tight. Like, Kev, over with the Wolves and stuff, like he like takes care of the guys like awesome. He took care of me like really well. Um, I mean, it's totally different to play something like that where
Yeah.
anything that's bothering you gets taken care of, to minor pro, like where you're playing and you're kind of mucking at that point, and you at injuries, you're kind of like looking online, okay, like how do I take care of this, like so you don't miss a game.
Yeah, and like that's the toughest part is like when you're injured and all, like you're looking stuff up, like just trying to like heal as quickly as you can, because if you're not playing, you're probably going to be sent home and just stuff like that. You just want to keep playing you and work through the injury, even though that's probably the worst thing that you could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like going back to one final thought from like the Rockford and the Wolves, like Rockford's a tough building to play into, like especially if you're an opposing team. Like just imagine like the things you're hearing from being a backup, like if you got in the game and like you and like they do like the hey, guess what? Your goalie sucks chant.
Yeah.
Like that's it's a tough place to play. Like I was just there as a fan the other day, and like it's a tough place. It's intimidating for sure.
I mean, I see, for me, like I thrive on that stuff when like someone like, even like when I was a kid and I play, and like I get like heckled or like whatever, it just fuels me
Yeah.
just to play better. So I mean, I think I would have probably loved it. I mean, even like the fan telling me I suck because I was sitting on the bench. Shout out to that fan though. I mean, even that I was like, dude, just put me in just so I can like, just
Fill
so I
this
can
guy up.
like, but I mean, like, it's fun. I enjoy it. Some guys don't like it. Uh, I think the toughest part about that rink is how tight those corners are and how small they are, because that puck, I was like, even like in warm up, they're like dumping pucks in for me to go stop it, and it was coming in because it would hit that corner and it would just launch back out to the front of the net because it's like
Yeah.
a square, and I'm like, dude, I would have to really contemplate every time I'm going to play a puck here. Am I going to go? Am I not going to go? Am I just going to leave it? So
Yeah, and and like the fans are all on top of you too in that rink. Like it's a nice setup though, and just like you're just right there. Like there's no bad seat in that rink for sure.
yeah, it's a great barn to play in, and it's kind of like the Wolves. I mean, for the most part, there's not really a bad seat in that spot either.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. But I got a few more questions for you before we wrap things up here. So you work for Goalie Parts. So like, what has been like your favorite part working at Goalie Parts?
Yeah. So I mean, goalie parts is it's kind of awesome in the sense of like I'm in literally my like niche of like my expertise, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
And I'm also kind of like a gear junkie. So I get to look at gear, work with gear, and be a part of it. I mean, we also have like our pro shop in Darien there, the Echo Pro Shop. That's our retail front. So I have people come in all the time, and I just get to shoot the shit, talk gear, and hang out. Goalie parts was pretty cool though with Dennis. He's been incredible. He's an awesome guy. He started his business with just like ordering a couple like random clear out cages or finding cages for like dirt cheap, and then just kind of turning around to people that would be looking for these cages that no one knew was around. And he was doing like small hockey, like goalie repair stuff, nothing too crazy. And then he's Otney. So I mean, you've got like Otney, and he started growing that business And when I met him, I actually met him like while I was coaching. And he was like, hey, like I own like this business called Goalie Parts. I'm kind of looking for someone like part-time, like here and there. It's kind of growing. And I was like, yeah, you know, I could help you out here and there. I was working downtown at that point, doing sales. And I was working part-time here and there, just doing like random things. Like putting like custom cages on helmets, like shipping stuff. Like he gets like the helmets, like doing like lookovers on them, make sure they're like all like up to like pads in the right place cosmetically. And then I had left my sales job just before Christmas, and I called him. I was like, hey, like I can work way more often. Like I'm kind of done. And he's like, well, this is growing rapidly and I can't keep up. What's your thoughts of coming on full time? And I was like, yeah, like that'd be awesome. So I joined full time with them in December 2019. Was working with him, doing just like, again, like assembly stuff. Like we invent stuff, like doing like, okay, like maybe like he'll go, hey, like what's your thought on this? Like the neck guards, the toe ties, the like helmet repair kits, like cages, like trying new colors on stuff. Like we have like a couple new helmets that we're like debating about like launching like non-certified helmets that are still like safe and up to standard,
Yeah.
but like maybe like different styles and cuts of helmets. Kind of getting to be part of like the grassroots of like a small business and watching it kind of grow. Watching it grow as fast as it is has been super fun. And then yeah, like just seeing I'm just something as simple as like, hey, like I have an idea of let's do this, and he'll be like, pull up pad and paper and we'll just start drawing and just start going at it. And it's just like things that like as a kid, like, dude, if I had this, my life would have been so much easier. Like ice, like for instance, like I don't personally use it, but like ice cream, for instance, it's like it's polished for your pads, help you slide better. Like if I had that as a kid, trying to learn how to like butterfly slide and like try to like power push and things like that, like, dude, like I would have been in the NHL
a whole lot easier.
It's like that, like as I said, like toe ties, like lace bite pads, like our lace bite pads, I give them to like my buddies when they get lace bite. I, instead of ordering the $150 bunga pads, I give them a $20 lace bite, and they're like, dude, these are incredible. Like our Echo Foam, like our helmets, I wear like basically a version of a Bauer 960 with like a Negra shell and like Echo Foam. I've taken a one-timer off the forehead from like Hartman, from Patrick Kane, like from Jake McCabe, and it just, I smell burnt rubber. My head doesn't hurt, and I think of like, if I had this as a kid, I'd probably have more brain cells. So I mean, it's awesome, like to be a part of that, and then also like as I said, like the retail side of it too with our pro shop. It's last year we opened during COVID, and we're like, I do not know if this is going to go. And I mean, we took off. I mean, to be a small pro shop in a rink, still sharpening by hand, and then you get to the goalie side of it where you've got myself. I used to like I played at a high level, coached at every level, to Cody, like Karpinski when he's around. He plays at a high level. Him and I are both gear guys. You can come in and go, hey, like my pad is not rotating the way I want it to. Him and I will like play around with it, assess it, or hey, we're doing a custom set. I want my pad to sit a certain way. Cool. Like we're going to add a strap here. We're going to do this or do that. And really kind of be a part of it has been awesome. And not too many pro shops, especially shops per se in the Midwest, or you've got guys who understand gear and also play it at a level to go, okay, like, hey, this is what's up. And actually go through like a proper fit. I mean, no offense to a lot of the guys over at Pure Hockey, but I mean, sizing hasn't been a forte for the most of them over there. So not saying all of them, but some of them, I mean, we've seen some numbers. But I mean, yeah, it's goalie parts. I mean, it's growing rapidly. I always tell guys, hey, like, go check it out. There's always something on there that you need, like outsider straps. I mean, for me, like I'm sewing like chin straps and like doing chin cups, and you're getting, compared to going to like a big box store where you're going to get like a CCM or something. You're kind of supporting a small business in one, but you're also like, you're getting like with our helmets are all handmade. I've been to the factory. I've helped make a helmet. I've sanded them. I've cut them. I've done everything. I've helped paint them. To like me, like sewing like a chin strap. Like Paul, he plays AAA for TI. I mean, he's putting like screw kits together. Like Richie, he's cutting straps so we can put them in our helmets, or like for like revitalization kits. Like Chuck, Dennis, and I, we're all on GGSU and stuff. We like talking with customers, fitting customers, like answering any questions, like kind of getting parents, just kind of educating parents. I mean, that's about 95% of our job, is just like educating parents and going like, hey, like, you're going to get a helmet, you're going to spend $600 on a helmet with well, use XYZ company. Well, you're going to get a plastic helmet with some extra padding in it. Even a lot of the top end helmets are plastic with just extra kind of foam in it. I mean, our entry level helmet's a full sheet of Kevlar and fiberglass. You go up to our mid range, like our mid to top range, and it's all like carbon fiber, Kevlar, high impact resins. And then we're lucky enough that we're actually able to, us in Sport Mask, we're able to do a Negra helmets, like, and Bauer toyed with it, and be pieces of Kevlar, pieces of a Negra on the helmet. I mean, you're getting a full helmet with a Negra or a full helmet with Kevlar in it. And that's like unheard of. And I mean, I recommend, if you're ever in the area, check them out, come pop in. You're getting a whole different machine.
Yeah, that's unreal. And like, I walk past it every time I go into Darien. I'm gonna go in there next time, because like, because all you guys are well versed in goalie parts and all that, and like, you know what you're talking about compared to some of these other guys, like that, like, no offense, like pure hockey, but like sometimes they don't know what they're talking about, or like they know what they're talking about but not as much as you guys know. And just like, I really like how like you guys are so invested in the company, and like in goalies parts and the equipment, because like that's the best part about being a goalie, is the equipment.
Yeah. And I mean, you kind of hit it like the nail on the head. I mean, like, it's just, there's too many variables as a goalie when it comes to your equipment that could literally make or break you liking a piece of equipment, or you maybe having a $20 fix compared to a $1,700 fix when you're getting like a new pad. And I mean, you go like, I had a kid the other day, he like ripped like his toe bridge or whatever. And I was like, his mom's like, oh, like his pads, like they fit, like I don't want to buy him new pads. And I'm like, well, let's pump the brakes here a little bit. Go to a shoe cobbler, get your toe bridge sewn back in. And instead of using, like, he was using like the toe hooks, which are awful for your hips and like everything like that as a coach. I'm like, go to like our toe ties. You're going to find that your pad's not going to pull on that as hard, and you're not going to like rip through them as quickly. I mean, that's a $40 fix between toe ties and a cobbler, compared to a $1,700 fix. You got to buy them new pads. And it ended up coming out. She came in and she still did a custom set, just a little bit bigger for a kid for next season, put the order in now, and they got their pads fixed to hold them over. And that's the other thing, with our store, it's more, and goalie parts, it's more of a, I don't say they're not intimate, but it's more of like I guess intimate's the right word. It's you're talking to the people that are actually making the products and making the helmet and being a part of like the company, and you're actually learning it compared to going to a big box store that's just selling whatever's in front of them just because that's what they're told to sell. It's a complete, I mean, I've tested the product. I mean, Dennis took his Otney helmet, and this is how actually Cody and him met. GGSU camp, goes out, Dennis is there, and he goes to Cody, he goes, hey, I'm looking, like I'm trying my new helmet, like I've got some padding in there. They had like NHL shooters. I need you guys to just hit me in the head. And Cody was like, he'll tell it the best. He's like, okay. Dennis skates away. And as Dennis skates away, Cody's like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, okay. Then his wound up, started taking clappers at his head, and Dennis was just like hitting it. He's like, okay, thanks, man. And just continued on with the day. And I was like, I mean, it's just cool to see that. I mean, like I've also like talked with Dennis about like creating stuff for like players. Like, I mean, I took a slash and broke my wrist as a player. Like wrist guards right now in the market are non-existent. So it's like being able to kind of invent stuff and be a part of it. It's cool to kind of see like your product out there. You're like, hey, like I did that. Like watching a kid the other day come in, he bought a harness from us, and it's like, oh, like I sewed that. Like it's kind of cool. And as I said, it is a little bit more of an intimate sale, and you're kind of able to talk with people and who know their stuff and actually able to help you with what you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Carps. I'm gonna have to ask him about that story and have him tell it for sure.
Yeah, he's or usually when he's here, we're attached to the hip between skating. He lives with me, and yeah, we work together. So we've got some stories. If you can, Carps, you're gonna have to explain to him Jose Canseco. All I'm gonna say, ask him about it, and he's going to. I'm interested to hear his side.
I'll definitely have to ask Carps about that for sure. Can't wait to hear about that one. But I'm just thinking about like the mask I wore before my current one. Like I'm like, how the hell did I even feel confident in this one? Like I could literally bend the chin. Like I could just go like that and like it'll bend. I'm like, how the hell did that protect me the 2 years I wore that? And like I'm like, wow, I would never go back to that mask.
I mean, I think about it when I played AA, like the little bit of AAA and junior, my first 2 years of junior, I wore a profile 1400. So essentially a plastic helmet with some packing peanuts on the inside. And I like look back, my style first of all was awful. And I'm like, dude, I wore that. Like I actually wore that. And then like I went to a 960, and I mean, my 960 was like great before I knew like Dennis and stuff. And then now I've got my CC, and I'm like, how did I wear anything before this? And then I've also got like my sport mask, my Pro XI. And I mean, it's like that my CC are just my two helmets. They're absolute units. And I'm like, now I'm spoiled. Now I literally can never wear anything but a $1,500 helmet. Great.
Oh,
And
gonna be in the.
It's got it painted too. Now there's more.
So gonna break the bank a little bit, but I'd 100% go for $1,500 to protect the head, and instead of just getting like a $500 mask than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's our helmets are just I want to say they're more superior, but I mean, when you're looking at a helmet compared to like a lot of the helmets that are out there, I mean, you spend $600 in a Bauer helmet or CCM helmet, you're getting a plastic with some normal foam in it. I mean, you're spending $600 with us, you're getting a full Kevlar, full carbon fiber, full high impact resin, full fiberglass shelled helmet that we have NHL guys wearing, we've got AHL guys wearing, European pro guys. We've got like our neck guards, for instance, the same foam we use on our helmets, using our neck guards. And I mean, our neck guards are absolute units. Like I recommend it to anybody. If you're ever in the area, like, as I said, to tell people, like, pop in, take a look at our helmets, take a look at our neck guards. And I mean, if you just want to talk gear and shoot the shit, we're good with that. I mean, we got players too. I do a lot of player stuff. I do custom skates for them too. And we sharpen a lot of the pro guys in the summer, their skates and stuff. They come in and we hang out with them. When Darlis was playing, I mean, we had all Darlis' stuff. He'd come in and come hang out with us. Sparks, he hangs out too. So it's a good time there. I think it's more of I call it more of like a club than anything. Because we just have
Goalie world.
Yeah, the goalie world club. I think we're just going to start charging admission, and we'll have a bouncer at the front door.
A little club action.
Yeah, you know, gotta make it fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But then my final question for you is, as a goalie coach right now, like, what do you pride yourself the most in when you're teaching the kids position of goaltending and how to become better goalies?
It's actually kind of yeah, I mean, it totally depends. It's a case to case kind of thing. One thing two things I always like work on, and I always kind of like tell the parents is, like, parents especially, like, oh, like, I want my kid like RVHing, I want him like sliding around, like I want him playing like Gibson, or I want him playing like Flurry, or like I want him playing like X, Y, and Z. And it's like, if you want your kid to like just learn how to slide and skip all the other steps, I'm not your guy. Yeah. I really, really harp on fundamentals in skating. A lot of kids kind of neglect that area, and a lot of coaches kind of skip steps 1, 2, and 3 and just go straight to 4. And 4, you can't do 4 without steps 1, 2, and 3. So I spend a lot of time going through on fundamentals, skating. We do a lot of like little compete drills. I mean, one of the most simple drills that I do is actually getting a goalie just in their stance, not moving, and just shooting a puck in their stomach, and actually getting them practice dropping their head into their stomach and actually watching a puck, or going to their glove or going to their blocker and actually watching pucks in. When we're skating, actually getting them to like, hey, you don't need to be basically in a splits in your butterfly or in your or when you're trying to move around, because when you try to move, you're not gonna move efficiently. Just getting them back to kind of a little bit more neutral. This year we've got a lot of the Hawks goalies have been seeing some success with just kind of going back to fundamentals and really working on small details. And I mean, I spend more time on that. And then the biggest thing, and as I said, is like, just gotta have fun. Between, like, I call, like, my one goalie, I call him 5-hole, because he's got the worst 5-hole in the world, but it's the funniest thing because he's like 4 foot nothing. But then we've also, like, I got this girl, I call her Swiss cheese, because that was like my nickname, but she's like unbelievable. But I call her Swiss cheese just to mess around with her. And I mean, coach, as a gift, she got me a t-shirt with a block of Swiss cheese. So it's like that. I mean, like, having like little games, like, we'll like gamble, like wager things. I'd be like, we'll play like 3 puck, and I'll be like, okay, if you lose, you owe me 10 up downs. If I lose, I'll do 10 push-ups. Like, we'll wager like BioSteel, or we'll wager like candy or something, like, and I mean, the biggest thing is just being able to like have fun, but also like kind of have that, like, hey, we're here to work at the same time. Yeah, it's been fun to just kind of it's been rewarding, I guess is the best. Not so much, it's
Yeah.
fun, but it's been rewarding to kind of watch some of these kids that might have been struggling for a position in like Nihil, or struggling for a position in prospects, or struggling for a position in Central States. I also work with like some kids outside of the Hawks that were like maybe on the bubble of like a AAA team. And it's like to watch them kind of grow through the season and being able to work with them and kind of start seeing their success. And we're coming to tryout time now. It's awesome to watch, and it's exciting to kind of be a part of.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it all goes back to the fundamentals of skating and everything, and just having fun. Because what are you doing if you're not having fun? Like, why are you out there?
Exactly. And that's as I said, I go back to Elliot Moose. Gotta find your thing. You just gotta hum it. And I mean, have fun. I mean, one kid, I told him about like what my old goalie partner used to do. He would put like Seprecol, like the numbing, like so. Shout out to Jordan Harrison, funniest kid. He's up in Toronto with me. He took Seprecol and he'd eat them before games, and then you would hear him just like, nah, nah, and be like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, my tongue, it's numb, and it's just like the goofiest guy. Like I have another kid. He like before he like goes into his net before each period, he does like a pirouette. Like he like goes on one blade, does like a spin, and then he goes in his net. It's just like little like quirky things. And I always like tell like guys like, hey, like have fun doing it. If you're not having fun, like don't bother. But there's times where you gotta be serious, and we gotta kind of buckle in, and let's get that done.
Yeah, gotta have that mix of seriousness and having a lot of fun, because goaltending is a lot of fun.
Yeah, or it can be a worse nightmare.
That is true. That is totally true, because everyone will have one of those nights every here and then, but you gotta stay consistent with getting those wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but do you prefer rebound game or 3-puck?
Ooh, that's tough. Um, when I'm playing, I like rebound. Yeah, I love rebound. When I'm playing with the kids, I love 3-puck. Get to work on the hands a little bit. But no, yeah, I love rebound though. Rebound's like my jam. It's just it's a little fun, and also too, you get to bait people a little bit and get overzealous with some of your stuff.
True.
Oh, puck just fell on my glove. Oh, okay.
Always got to bring out the windmill, even if it's a shot right into your glove. You always got to extend and windmill it.
Absolutely. If you don't windmill it, it's a crime.
You gotta milk it.
Oh yeah, extra cheesy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But Caydon, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. I want to wish you the best of luck with Goalie Parts and coaching, and hopefully you get another opportunity sometime soon in the pro world.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast, and yeah, we'll you have to come pop in sometime. We'll talk gear, maybe do a little live session or something there, and we'll have some fun with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for that.